What is going on, everyone? Leon checking in, and we're at it again with another video. In today's video, we'll be unboxing, demoing, and reviewing the RIG MGX Pro controller for Android. Now, this is a controller you place your Android phone in for a console-like gaming experience. Now, in a previous video, we unboxed and reviewed the GameSir X2 controller, which has similar function to the RIG, and you can find that content by clicking on the card in the corner of this video. As for this video, it's featured on the Modern Gamer playlist, so you can find information related to this topic quickly and easily. And for reference, I'm using the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold3 with the RIG, but the RIG also supports other Android devices running Android 6 or higher with a maximum length of 6.7 inches. That being said, now is a perfect time to whip out that measuring tape and measure your Android device before purchasing the RIG. As always, we only feature products or services I buy, use, or am interested in. On that note, I did purchase the RIG MGX Pro controller because I believe in a future of gaming that's done on less powerful devices using either apps or cloud streaming services. Now, you can find this item and related items at the Amazon storefront link in the description below. All things said, let's go ahead and get into it. So here we are with the unboxing. Package highlights include portable dominance and designed for Xbox. Contents include the RIG MGX Pro controller, USB-A to USB-C charge cable, and product information, and RIG decals. And a small mention of the USB cable. It is very minimal, but it has the manufacturer's branding on it. So let's talk more about the controller. Again, this controller is designed for Xbox, which means that it has a familiar Xbox design scheme. In fact, if we place a Xbox Core controller next to the RIG, you can see that these controllers look almost identical. On the face of the controller, we have the familiar left stick, view button, directional pad, Xbox button, menu button, right stick, and X, Y, A, B buttons. Because these sticks are similar in size to an Xbox controller's, you can add Xbox thumb grips for a hint of customization. These sticks also rotate, as you would expect, but are also clickable. And on the top, we have the left and right bumpers, which are simply buttons and left and right triggers. Now, these triggers are spring-loaded, which feels similar to an Xbox controller, but they lack the texture that Xbox controller features. On the bottom of the controller, we have the USB-C port on the left side and the Bluetooth pairing button on the right side. A good quality of this controller is the textured area on the rear. You can see that it runs along the whole back side of the controller, but it also runs onto the grips, and this should maximize gaming performance. Next, we have the spring-loaded extended area with Nikon branding embossed and grooved rubber padding. The spring-loaded assembly is one of the smoothest I've experienced on a controller of this style. The rubber padding with grooves grips your device securely while protecting both the controller and your phone from scratches. Now, you'll want to make sure that you use a thin profile case on your smartphone for the most optimal fit, as thick cases like an OtterBox may not fit well here. For reference, I'm using a Spigen Tough Armor case on my Z Fold3, which you can find in the description below to complete this kit. Now, this isn't necessary, but if you are brave enough, you can install your phone without its case. As you can see, I'm going to install my Z Fold3 with its case, and you can see that is the fitment we get. And I'll actually push the screen down and I'll hold it up so you can get a good view there, and we can put the screen back up. A note about this support system as well, you can see that there is a lip right here where your phone sits. That prevents your phone from sliding through, a feature that's missing on a lot of other controllers. That being said, although my Z Fold3 is on the slightly thicker side, it's still held securely by the controller, as I didn't notice it trying to fall out during gaming sessions. The design of this controller also works really well with the Z Fold3 for 3 reasons. 1, the main display of the Z Fold3 can be flexed on the fly while playing for a more desirable viewing angle. 2, if you insert your Z Fold3 in the correct orientation into the controller, you can actually charge it while playing a game. And 3, if we want to, we can fold up our Z Fold3 and we can insert it this way, and then we'll open up the app, and this will give us a more portable gaming experience. Next we have pairing, and as a side note, I wanted to mention that I've already paired this controller to the Z Fold3 that you see here, but I wanted to cover this because it would be informational anyway. So we would start by pressing and holding down on the Xbox button, and that's going to illuminate a LED right above the button. Now, as you can see, the Xbox button logo doesn't actually light up, which is different than what you would see on an Xbox controller where the Xbox button would light up. So just slight difference there. Now, in order to actually enter pairing mode, we would press and hold the pairing mode button right here. And this seems like it's forever when you're pressing and holding it down. And we're going to wait here. So this takes a little bit longer. And we're going to wait. And as you can see, we have that LED indicator above the Xbox button. That's blinking now. And then we would look for the controller in our Bluetooth settings. Now, in my Bluetooth settings on the Z Fold3, this controller showed up as Nikon MGX Pro. And then I just clicked on it and then it paired. Initial pairing is quick and easy, except for doing this button here, the pairing button. I think it actually worked when this controller wasn't paired to anything. I think the fact that it's paired to my Z Fold3 actually slowed the pairing process down. So this portion of the video might be a little bit misleading when it comes to the initial pairing. I believe that initial pairing, again, it was a lot faster. And then pairing afterwards is really quick. I think it's actually faster than a lot of other controllers. Once the controller is paired, it can be used for scrolling through the Android system UI or your favorite custom launcher, like the custom Nova launcher I created here. Because this controller is also Bluetooth, that means you can use your device outside of the controller itself. Again, this controller is designed for Xbox, which means that it works really well with Xbox cloud streaming service Game Pass. Now, as you can see, we're playing Halo Infinite, and it gives us an essentially console-like experience. But the rig also works really well with other cloud streaming services like Google Stadia, and here we're playing Cyberpunk 2077 with no issues. And then there are Google Play Store games, and the rig works really well here with games like Diablo Immortal, a new release I'm enjoying. So let's talk about the buttons. Now, the X, Y, A, B, those work really well. I especially love the left and right triggers for racing games, and even those top bumpers work really well. Here we are, we're playing Asphalt 9, and thumbsticks work extremely well here. We're going to tap the A button to boost, use the nitro. And this looks amazing, this looks beautiful on the Z Fold3. But with this controller, we are duplicating a console-like experience. And then we have the D-pad. Now, you may not use this all that much in more complex games, but here we are playing Coromon. It's kind of like a different version of Pokemon, but we are using the D-pad a lot here. We're also using the A button to speed run, and it works as expected. Works really well. It's very responsive. No issues here. And then I wanted to talk more about the view button, the Xbox button, and the menu button that you see here. Now here we are in Game Pass, and the view button, that kind of acts like a menu button, and then the menu button over here acts like a menu button as well. And then we have the Xbox button that acts as a guide button. And then if we're in Stadia, the Xbox button, it acts as a social button. And the view button seems to have no purpose in Stadia. And that menu button over here, that acts like a menu button. And then powering off the Rig MGX Pro is done by pressing and holding on the Xbox button until we see that white LED go out. Now this feels like it takes quite a bit of time, but as you can see, that light goes out and now the controller is powered off. So let's talk about battery and charging. And one of the things I really like about the rig is if you leave it sitting for an extended period of time without playing, it appears it goes into a timeout mode and it turns off to save battery. Now the rig is also rated at 20 hours playtime, but if you did need to charge it while actually playing, you can do so. Simply plug the supplied USB-C cable into the port there, and you can actually continue to play while it's plugged in. Now I would recommend using a 90-degree cable, that way you don't have this interference that you see here. I'm actually going to step back. So again, you can see that that cable is going to be pushed on. If we were to kind of play in this position, a 90-degree cable would be more favorable. But as for it being plugged in, that cable is not going to interfere with our gameplay, even though it does come straight out. So let's wrap things up. Overall, the Rig MGX Pro, if it's not the best controller, it's one of the best controllers for Android. And I can say this confidently because I've actually spent hours playing games this weekend with this hardware, which is unheard of because it's hard for me to get into games. Hopefully I'm not alone when I say this, but to me gaming seems so overwhelming these days, but the Rig brings us back to more simple times. Here we just have to put our phone into this controller, and this controller works really well. And if you get the opportunity, it's glorious to try this with a Z Fold3 or a similar foldable. Again, we get those two orientations if we desire. We can use this with the main display or we can use it with the cover display. And I like that customization. It's really what gamers love about gaming. And then I love the functionality of this controller. Again, we can use it with cloud streaming services, we can use it with apps, and we can use it with other devices that may not fit in here. So it's got all around good functionality. So that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed it and found it useful, please leave a like. If you're watching on YouTube and have any questions or comments, as always, drop those down below and I'll do my best to answer them. Now there are 3 ways you can support the channel. The first way is to click on the Amazon storefront link in the description below. There you'll find items that I have bought or would buy, and anything you buy from the storefront does support the content. The next way you can show your support is just by sharing this video or the channel with someone who might enjoy it or find it useful. And the last way you can show your support is just by clicking the subscribe button. Now liking and subscribing are important because those are your ways to vote on whether you like the channel. Liking and subscribing are also important for new viewers and listeners. If new viewers and listeners see likes and subscribers, they're going to think that the content is helpful, worth watching, and listening to. As always, thanks for watching and may the universe flow in your favor. And until next time, Leon checking out. Yeah.